Hey everyone. I wanted to just give you kind of a quick update today and let you know what has panned out for me and how things have aligned. Because, one of the ways that I've really learned to trust my path is to listen to the intuitive nudges. And sometimes they're small, like just reply to this message, and sometimes they're bigger, like make this move, right? And in the middle of change and transition, I feel like they're just your reality is just littered with them. Your reality, all over the walls of your reality are little intuitive nudges, little information, little gold nuggets that are gently guiding you towards the highest path. And of course, there's a multitude of paths, and sometimes we don't always end up on the highest path, but it is up to us, I think, to uncover and reveal what the highest path is. So that has been my work for the past couple of weeks, just being available to that. And, one of the cities that was at the top of my list was Miami. And many of you now know that I'm hosting a retreat in Miami in July. And so it worked out for me to do that locked in, which was a pretty clear indication, obviously, that I was starting to align myself in that direction. And so I put out a little ad on Miami Facebook, housing group, and immediately got a bunch of replies, but one in particular from a guy who's just sort of starting a housing company down there. And so he has furnished rentals that are all included, and was willing to kind of give it to me at a really good rate because he's just getting started and he's trying to get these booked. So, within 2 days of me even sort of aligning there, I had a place for a wonderful rate, and he wanted to do 3 months, which felt supportive to me because I wanted to try it out. I kind of had in my head 1 month, but because I wasn't sure. I've been to Miami like once, twice, but both times, I was there to party basically. So I don't feel like I got a full experience of what it would be like to live there. I was on South Beach both times, and so in my draw towards Miami, I've been feeling like, okay, let me, get a place for a shorter period of time. Let me not go all in to start, just to make sure, because I'm very much about a vibe of a space. And while I've had great experiences in Miami both times that I've been there, again, I'm in a much different period of my life, and I, want to make sure that the vibe there aligns with what I'm looking for if I'm going to really settle down somewhere. So all of that came together so magically. I kept pinching myself, is this even real? The way that it came together and how quickly it came together, even with the retreat in place. So here I am, have that major piece in place, and then I can be there early and, get a feel for the space and everything else. Not to mention the retreat is being held at a hotel called the Soleil Hotel, which is so crazy. And that was where my co-facilitator Paige had stayed before. So it wasn't like some random thing we Googled. It was a place she had been before. That's oceanfront, super, super beautiful. And that just lined up so seamlessly. The way that things line up when you just align with your highest path is so mind-blowing that it seems unreal. Mind you, and no coincidence, I was making this decision alongside my nephew and sister were in town, Maui, staying with me the past couple of weeks. And he was actually looking at moving to Maui. And so he was kind of in his place. He's about 10 years younger than me. So obviously in a different place in his life, but it was so dope for me to kind of be going through a similar juncture in my life alongside him. And while he's brand new to it, and I'm kind of an OG at it because I've done this so many times. And I kept telling him, and as I would tell him, I would tell myself, the path is already laid out. The path is already laid out. Your work is just to reveal it. And as I would say that to him, I would watch him go through his process. And it was so similar. The way that things lined up was just absolutely mind blowing for him. So clear that he was making the highest decision of being here. It was as if everything was already laid out. The way that it was just literally in 3 days, it was boom, 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 housing, job, everything that he needed to stay here and feel comfortable about being here. And the same exact thing was happening for me in Miami. Housing, a retreat, and people. Obviously I started to reach out to Miami folk because I have a lot of community down there, and I'm excited to connect with them. And everybody's just receiving me with wide open arms. So I say all this to say, whether you're in a big choice point or a little choice point or no choice point, or maybe even sometimes in the periods where we feel sort of stagnant. I know that a lot of times when I get messages from people, it's often that they're just feeling kind of stuck or stagnant, or they're not hearing the calls or whatever it is. And, I will say that, of course, we have seasons of stillness. We absolutely have seasons of stillness. And sometimes it feels like nothing's happening. And that's because your reality is directing you inward. So it's asking you, instead of making all these external choices and moves, moves and shifts and changes to go within and sit with yourself. Maybe there's actual major moves being made within you. And so your life is like, we're not even going to make any changes externally until you sit with those changes so that they can then materialize and manifest externally in the ways that you're meant to be materialized and manifested. So of course there's seasons, and I've talked about this before, but also, sometimes you're getting the messages, but they're not coming in the ways that you want them to come, or they're not coming from the people you expect them to come from. So you're disregarding them. But to me, the divine is always talking to you. Like, I think the true mystic knows that the divine is always speaking to us. Our lives are a divine conversation every day, in every moment, in stillness and in chaos and in noise and in joy and ecstasy. Like in every capacity, we're having a conversation with the highest power. And that's here. It's always here. The higher powers are always available to us. They're always present. They're always guiding us. There's always an intuitive nudge, even when it feels like there's not, because again, sometimes the intuitive nudge is inward, and that might be where we're resisting the most. So we're expecting this like external accolade when really your life's like none of that. You need to sit down and just be quiet for a while. And, I'll even say my time on Maui has kind of been all of that, because I've had some time with family, and then the past few days have been by myself and feeling like I kind of need to be doing things. I'm in the middle of this major change. And so I kind of my ego is at play of like feeling like I need to be getting things done. And simultaneous to a lot happening on my behalf is this energy of like, but also you're in your like divine cocoon, like just be still. And so I've had to really, practice that again, as much as I practice stillness, like to set everything down. And especially amidst like major change, to not be making major plans, albeit they're made, just to be in stillness. And so I say all this just to offer you the understanding that, if change is to be made, you're going to know. And the work then is to trust your knowing. Really, really trust your knowing. Trust the intuitive nudges, little small changes, major big changes, whatever it is. You're not deciding. You're not really deciding. You're really more so aligning. And I think that's such a major, major shift in how we see the world and how we go about our lives, is like not feeling like we're like the only one in the driver's seat making all the decisions for our life. Like more than anything else, there is the highest vibrational timeline that is already laid out, and it shifts and changes according to each moment and your trajectory and where you're headed and what's happening. Even if you diverge from it a little bit, it course corrects and realigns you. Like it doesn't ever go away. It does not ever go away. In fact, sometimes I think the further you go, the stronger the pull it is back. And so whenever you feel stuck, or if you feel like you're not being guided, take time in stillness, because oftentimes the answers are within and we're just avoiding having to go there, because sometimes we have to go through the discomfort to get to the answers. But listen a little closer. Listen a little closer to your life, the little tiny nuance, detail, synchronicities that are always present. This is why I really encourage you to make a language for your life. If it's numbers that mean something to you, or songs and you're available to that, like letting life speak to you multidimensionally in all the ways that it does. For me, I'm out here like with the lizards, watching the lizards and like, letting them talk to me and tell me and whatever it is, right? The birds, there's so much wildlife out here and they're just so present. You're just sort of saturated in nature in Hawaii, that it's really easy to stay really spiritually connected to Mother Earth here and let that be such a beautiful, powerful messenger. But, whether you're on Hawaii or anywhere, the messages are always present. They're always, always present. Maybe, a day where it's quiet. So, I know a lot of my girlfriends who are like super deep intuitive, and they're so used to like the messages being loud and so present all the time that when they have a couple of days, they're just like, have I lost my connection? No, you don't lose your connection. I don't think you can really ever lose your connection, because God, the highest power, is always calling you home, which is ultimately through the self. And then, when it's all said and done, back to the highest power. So you can't lose your connection. You can go away, which separate from yourself, which is the ultimate kind of losing your connection, because the self is the tether, but you can't lose it. I really don't believe that you can lose it. People come out here and they're talking about like demons and the bad guys and all of these things. And I really wonder, could there be people who are totally unhinged from the divine stream? Or is there always at least a flicker of possible light within them, that if they just choose to remember, that it would take over, that their light would remember itself. And I like to believe that, I don't think there's a right or wrong way to believe it. I do think there are people who are kind of, encompassed in darkness, unfortunately, because they have chosen every, alternate option than the highest one. And the further they get from the highest path, the darker their path becomes, the darker they become. I do believe that. You can feel it in people's energies when you can see it in their eyes, when they're so disconnected from themselves that it doesn't even, it's like you're trying to see if there's a spirit in there. But I believe it doesn't ever go away. And so no matter what, no matter where you are on your path, if you feel like you've chosen every path away from yourself, or say you're deep in, say, a relationship that has taken you away from yourself, or a life choice that has taken you away from yourself, you can always get back. You can always get back. So whether you are at a choice point in your life, making a major move, or you're just simply feeling separate from yourself, separate from the highest power, come back. And really it's about letting go. Surrender is the energy of return. Once you surrender and just give, like, I don't even know, like those are the best moments of like, I don't even know anymore. I've had so many of those in my life where I've like hands up and thrown up in the air. I thought as soon as I think that I know everything, it's life pretty quickly humbles you to know that there's, very little. But that it's that energy of like, I do not know, that brings you back. Because that's when you've just it's kind of given up in a way energetically, so that you can just move right back into flow and alignment. Because the river of life is always guiding you. You are always in your inner tube on the river of life. And so you can kick and scream and try to catch onto things and, avoid the flow, or you can just let go and let it take you, and hear the little nudges that when you can hear that a rock's coming, so you hit a little right turn so you can avoid it, it's always present. The guidance is always present. And that to me is like one of the most magical things about this life. Whenever I feel frustrated or down or lost or confused, or, whatever story I have in my head about victim me, I just let go. I'm like, all right, God, you got it. You got it. Whatever. Sometimes I'm even mad, cause sometimes I'm like, I do all this work, whatever it is. I don't feel like I'm, where I'm at in my life yet, or whatever story I have going on. And I just let go, and God will take me. Life will take me. The highest vibrational powers are always working in your favor. That's a law of the universe. So the work then is less deciding, more aligning. Less deciding, more aligning. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you lock in with that code, with that energy, you will be absolutely amazed at the miracle that is life, and the way that things line up for you. Boom, 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 boom. As if it was already there and you just had to find it. So I hope that helps you. It's been really pivotal for me to do this alongside someone else who's also doing it, because every time I would tell him advice, it would be for me too. Of course, that's always how it goes, right? And that's definitely how it goes in my channel. Whenever I'm talking to you guys, I'm like, maybe I need to write that down, So we're all in this together, obviously, but you guys have been on this little change with me. So I wanted to give you an update on that. And I'll keep you posted. Obviously, I'm booked now in Miami through the end of September, and I will decide then if I'm going to stay or switch it up. But I'm excited. I feel really good. I feel clear, and it feels nice to just have a path and be set. And I can set that down and kind of then get back into the rhythm of my life when I'm in periods of stillness or in periods of activity, and that it's always both. And that's, I think, just such the magic of life, is that when you surrender to the path, there will be times where there's like nothing happening, it feels like, although internally there's probably a lot happening. And then there will be other times where you can't even like keep up with your own schedule, because so much is going on and your life is like fully kind of ejecting you out into your external power, so that you can bring everybody up on this wave with you. So thank you all for being on this wave with me. Thank you for following me on this path. Let me know if you have any questions, or if this resonates with you. Again, if you ever have topic requests, I'm happy to talk about them. But yeah, soon you will see me shift gears from my beautiful divine place to LA. So you guys are coming with me on this little journey that I'm on, but I look forward to keeping all of you posted, and I will talk to y'all very soon. Much love, everyone.